Hi and welcome to the Spencer Lodge podcast. Today I am interviewing, well I'm not really interviewing, I think I'm being put under some kind of punishment or some kind of experience, being made to do something that I don't want to do. Okay, but I'm spending the afternoon with Farhad Azizi from Azizi Developments and we're going skydiving. That's what we're doing today. And the reason that we're doing it is that it was a chance for me to get to know Farhad a bit better, but also for you to get to know the CEO of a big organization that typically you would sometimes feel that it wasn't so accessible, and realize what kind of person he is and what kind of life he lives and how he approached his life. And I think you're going to enjoy this one. So why don't we cue the music and get stuck in. Why are we sat at Skydive Dubai on a Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock?
Why not? I would pick this and then do over day-to-day work.
Are you an adrenaline junkie?
I'm not, but I like this. This is something I've never done. So I'm very curious and I'm pretty fascinated on how crowded it is here. There's so many people wanting to participate in this, because I was under the impression it will be quite empty and we're just going to hop on.
Hey, not many people would say.
Yeah. So seeing the whole crowd is pretty impressive.
So skydiving for you is something you've not done before.
Never.
Okay, you were telling me earlier on when we were chatting that you did the bull run in Pamplona.
Yes, I did that. And
What?
that was
You are an adrenaline junkie.
Well, I did it. It was my brother's idea, and I really liked it, and I'm very happy I've done it. Although it's quite risky. I think it's probably more there's more risk involved in this, because the bulls, you don't have any safety or anything on, and you have to just
People get hurt.
Yeah, people get hurt really bad. And once you do the whole run, then you get into this arena, and they close the doors of the arena, and all these 10 or 12 bulls are in, and if you...
It's a locked area. I thought it was the street.
No, it's a street. The street ends into an arena.
Ah, they go up the street and then in the arena.
The street is probably 2 kilometers run or 3, and then you get into an arena with all the bulls inside, and the bulls just run after you. So
how many bulls? Tell me.
it's 8 to 12 bulls, and the bulls change. So there's a couple of bulls, they get tired, they get a break. But the people inside, they don't get breaks.
How many people are inside though?
It's like 200-300
200-300
are inside into the arena, and the bulls are basically there's quite a bit of bulls and too many people, so there's 1 or 2 that get hurt quite a bit. But there are people that help you with things.
Like what? They'll teach you how to run faster.
No, not really. Like there's some
there's
some that have a little bit more experience. There isn't a place to hide. So some people would get too scared and they would jump on the fence, and then there are people with whips. They'll whip you away.
Whip the people away?
Yeah.
Not the bulls?
Yes. And my brother was with me. He got whipped on this finger, and he was bleeding. It's a very hardcore, natural experience. It's no joking.
So are you into kind of like fast cars and fast-paced things?
I love cars, not necessarily fast. But all kind of cars. I love cars. I love anything with a motor inside it.
What kind of car do you drive?
It varies. That's another problem I have. My car changes all the time. Like I
get bored of them?
I get a bit bored, and I get too carried away with getting a new car with the new technology and all that. So I've had I had many types of cars, and I lost quite a bit of money on them. But selling them back is very difficult. Especially with some of these.
You always lose money on cars.
I know.
It's just that, and it's every time I used to do it, I'd go back into the car dealership and I'd be like, yeah, I've had it for like 6 months, and thinking I might have lost a few percent, and then
it's easily 20-30%. Yes, and especially those, like if it's a very special car, then you lose even more. So I like cars, but now I'm a bit more careful. My wife has limits now. She says you can't do this. You can change your car every 2 years or every 3, but not so often. But I love fast cars.
So who's the boss at home then? Is your wife the boss at home?
Well, it depends, right? Depends on what it is. So there's a lot of things she's the boss. There's a lot of things I am, but we have a very good mutual respect. And we have 2 kids, so we do a lot of things for the kids now.
Yeah.
I have a boy and a girl, and when it comes to our plans in life, it's always the kids now. The type of car we get, the holidays we get, or the furniture we buy, or anything we do, it's all about the kids, and the kids are young, so you really can't, like even today, I didn't tell her that I'm coming on this because she might cancel it on me.
Really?
So,
What's that mean? She doesn't know you're
no,
here.
so when it comes to safety, I have to be. She's the boss. When it comes to safety, obviously, I think this is a very safe activity.
But you didn't tell your wife.
I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her. Just like I was very excited about doing a motorcycle license and all that. I would go practice. I got my license, and I told her I have the license, and she was surprised, but she didn't let me get a motorcycle. She said you got the license, but you cannot ride.
You're joking. That's exactly what happened to me.
Really?
I went to the UK, I did a crash course for a week, got my motorbike license, came back ready to buy a motorbike. And my wife was like, "What? No."
Yeah, you can't.
I'm like, "Yeah, but got a Friday morning early. There's a group of guys that ride."
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work. She eventually said you can get one of those what do you call it?
Tricycles.
Yeah, tricycles. But I didn't want to get those. I'd rather get a bicycle there.
Yeah. So she wouldn't let. And were you going to get like a Harley or like a fast bike?
Well, Harley. I was thinking of a Harley, a big one, not a very crazy loud one, but I was open to anything actually. I was told for your first one you have to be a bit careful, get a lighter one and all that, and then as you get experience and all that. But all those dreams are vanishing.
What kind of life do you live then? Because obviously you're the boss of a big company and you're a successful guy from a successful family too. And a lot of people would be forgiven for imagining that you led a very privileged life. And when I look at my wife, I think she led a privileged life as well. And then I think about my kids, and I just wanted to ask you about your kids. Do you want them to grow up understanding, importantly, the value of money, the value of ethics? Do you find it hard to teach them because you've been lucky yourself, or do you think that you've got either a hard and fast set of rules around the kids, or how do you bring them up?
I think we live a good life, obviously, but it's a very simple life as well, and we have made it even more simpler for when we start to have kids, because you cannot have kids who are raised in an environment where things are too simple and easy, and they're all spoiled with a lot of these facilities of life. Dubai is a great city and it makes it even easier, right? So with a driver and housemate and nannies and so many of those things, it could get really challenging for them if they have problems later on in life and they wouldn't stand on their 2 feet. So that's one of our biggest worries as parents. I see that my parents, we were 7 siblings. My parents always also were very careful when it came to, especially my mom. She didn't want us to be all very, spoiled with money and this and that. So if my dad could afford that nice, bicycle, we were not spoiled with those things, or a nice car or a nice.
So you were taught the value.
So very much so. When I was in the university back in the States, I lived in the dorm. I wanted to live in a nice apartment outside the university and have this and have that, but he said no, you can't. So the value of money has always been a big topic in our house.
It's kind of always easy to want to give your kids the best things, isn't it? It's easy to want to provide nice things, nice experiences and everything, but there has to be that balance.
The balance is very important. I have seen other families who's struggling a lot because their kids are too spoiled. They go to college, for example, they're on their own and they have a little problem and they cry about it. You see that it's all because they were too pampered, and the parents cannot be there for them all the time, especially when parents age. They really cannot take care of a 30-year-old man anymore.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I find it interesting looking, because I have this comparison. I come from a working class background. My dad went bankrupt when I was 7 years old. Okay. So he'd worked hard to achieve something. Then my dad went bust, and then from going bust, he had to start again and build. And at 7 years old, I was starting to work out what was going on. And as I went in kind of like my early part of my teens, he was still on the building phase. When I met my wife Anna, she's had a very privileged life. She's never had a job interview. She's always worked for dad's company, been sent around the world and learnt different languages at the different offices around the world, and always had whatever she wanted. I remember when I was a kid saving up and buying my first pair of sneakers. my Nike Air Max. And I think they were something like, back then, 30 or 40 pounds. But back then, that was a lot of money to me. And I remember saving up the money. I had a job on a Saturday morning on a market stall. I cut people's lawns, I washed people's cars, I delivered newspapers in the mornings, and saved up that money, and I bought them. And I remember leaving the shop with them in the box. And like,
very happy to have those.
Oh man, it was amazing. And I remember I took them, I kept that box for ages. And I always put them back. I had a toothbrush to clean them with. I always put them back in the box. And so I know what it's like to have to save and value something, because I had to do it myself. I mean, this is back in the 80s.
You know, I have a friend in Germany. She tells me that she's so worried that her kids would not have dreams to do that, like to get to save money and buy a sneaker, or to save money and do something. And she says everything that my kids need and I provide them. Then what are they going to look out for? What is that they're going to look out for? Maybe maybe an experience, but then there is so many things that if money keeps on buying it, then you sort of could reach to a point where you are sort of lonely and isolated and depressed, maybe. And it's very important to, as a parent, to know the kids are too young to realize this. So the parents who think that they're very generous with their kids are not necessarily
doing them any favors.
They're not doing too many favors. I think they're not forecasting on how bad it could get. So whether it was myself or all my other siblings, my two sisters, for example, one of them is a dentist, the other is a medical doctor. They both work, and they have like lengthy work hours, 12 hours at a hospital in London. One of my sisters, she's in London in the emergency, and she has.
All the doctors work long hours there.
She works for the NHS, and the working hours are pretty tough. So just like everybody else, she's doing the same thing. And I every time I see her doing that and working so hard to be successful in her career, and that makes me very proud that she's not spoiled with this. She's not doing it for the money. She's doing it like, she wants to be something.
She's got purpose, hasn't she? It's passion,
Yes, exactly.
Tell me, when you think about Dubai, is Dubai good for kids?
Very much so. I mean, I think Dubai is definitely one of the best places to raise family, to have kids.
Why is that?
There's too many. The list is very long, but the biggest I would put at the top is safety. Safety, number one. The variety of school. My kids go to the Swiss International. They learn German and English simultaneously. They could go to German school or French school or British school and American school. So that the education is good, safety is good, and then there's a lot of it makes it very, how do I say? There's a lot of things restricted, which are good, and kids don't need to have that access to it. So the list goes on of how many things are restricted. I'd rather have my kids not have the access to it. So it's restricted as a whole for the whole community, and I think that helps the kids in that form.
I think that living in Dubai for kids, going back 15 years, the only communities I ever used to see were kind of like a compound community.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was like freestanding houses in the whole kind of Sakin, Jumeirah area with big walls around them.
Yes.
Which doesn't...
That has changed a lot.
I know it has changed,
yes. Now it's communities everywhere.
Now it is communities,
yes.
People live in communities, the kids ride the bike up the street, and the kids play at the communal swimming pool.
Yes, they're gated and safe.
And that kind of stuff. And I think that creates...
a good social environment.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's been missing in Dubai for a while. It's still not as robust because you have such a huge population of so many expats from so many different nationalities, and for people it takes time to get to know the whole of somebody with a different language
and culture and stuff.
So you end up tending to hook around your own type of people and all that. So that's been something that a lot of people had complained in the past that lifestyle in Dubai could be a bit.
So is it with those communities that exist? When you think about your like a day in the life for you, park work for a minute here. Mm-hmm. You're a dad. You've got 2 kids. Are you the guy that goes home, grabs the kids, gets involved, and does traditional dad stuff?
So I leave at work sharp at 6.
You leave on the dot at 6 p.m. at the end of the day?
6 p.m., 5:30, 6 p.m. If I have work at days, maybe once a week I stay a bit late.
Yeah.
But the rest of the days I leave early. I go home and then I let the kids decide. So they want to go to the playground, I take them. I put very comfortable clothes on so I can run with them, wrestle with them, or take the bicycle, go out. So the weather is very good now, so we do a lot of outside activities. In summer, then we do a lot of indoor activities. But in this type of environment, we're outside. I live in a community where there's a lot of green area, so we just run around and play football.
Do you cook?
Not much. I'd love to learn how to cook, but I've been reading books about it, and I want to take a class. So my daughter is only 6.5, and she's interested. I'm interested. She wants to participate in the class.
There's places you can go here where you can go as a family and learn to cook as a family,
yes.
and spend the evening and have a chef teach you.
Yeah.
And I've done that before with my family.
Okay.
And it's fabulous because you'll get instructions. You've got the chef teaching you, but you're all doing it together and getting stuck in.
I think that's a very good activity, but I haven't had a chance to do it.
And do you read the bedtime stories?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I've been reading a lot of riddles now. My daughter wants to hear the riddles, and my son, he wants to listen to certain music, and then he falls asleep. So we switch roles. Sometimes my wife takes the son, 3-year-old, and I take my daughter.
What are your kids' names?
Mina is my daughter, and Aryan my son.
And so who's more like you?
I think they're both, but I think my son is more like me. He's only 3, but
you're hoping, aren't you?
No, I'm not hoping. He's very much. My daughter is very much like my wife.
Okay.
But she's very close to me, and my son, the way he's very. How do I say? He's not as he's quieter and patient. I think I'm very patient, and he's quite patient. He's very patient, very calm. He listens. And my other kid, she's more like she wants to lead things. She doesn't care what you want. She does what she thinks is right. And my wife is a lot like that, which I respect a lot. But when it comes to my son, he's more of this loyal, obedient, and wanting to be within the right limits of the rules and stuff. So he. And
do they get on well with the grandparents? Do they see much of the grandparents?
Yeah, we live near. We live close. So we live in Emirates Hills, both my parents and myself, and then my parent-in-laws are in Frankfurt, in Germany. So every summer holidays they're in Germany, and then the rest of the time we're here. And it's only 2 kilometers drive.
Your dad built an empire over many, many years. And I think that there'd be an image of your dad as a businessman, and maybe not so much of an image as a grandfather. But I'm sure he's a lot of fun with the kids, isn't he?
He is, but he's he's quite busy all the time, right? So when he's at home, he's still in his working mode. And the kids are not very, they get a bit like nervous that, he's maybe busy with his meeting, with his phone calls and stuff. So, but when he gets his moments, he becomes really childish with them. So he tries, and I think for somebody who has not done it for so long, it starts to look a bit strange, and he needs to practice much more, because all his grandkids are still too young. Yeah, the oldest is my daughter.
How many grandkids has he got?
He got 5.
He's got 5 already.
Yeah,
There'll be more, won't there? There's going to be more for sure. There's 7 kids. There's going to be more in time.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And do you think he'll ever retire? Do you think it's in his DNA, or is one of these guys?
He says he wants to, but I think he will not.
Not possible.
It's difficult for him to retire, and I think his bread and butter is work. He feels comfortable working. I think he should do that if he really enjoys it, right? So I know people who are very old, but they still go to work every day just because they got into the habit. And I think he has that habit. Although he talks about retiring and doing this and doing that, but the things he says are things that he never really have done in the past. So then I'm like, I don't think you're going to pick up new habits and new hobbies at this age.
How old is he now?
He's 58.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got this guy, he's a workaholic. It's like being addicted to sugar, isn't it? Some people with their careers, it's like they can't function without it.
Yeah, he's a very interesting person. I learn a lot from him. One of the biggest thing I think he has, and a lot of people I see don't have it as much as he does. He has a lot of courage of taking. His risk appetite is pretty good, and his calculations are pretty good. So he doesn't get if I would have told him let's do skydiving today, he would be like, okay, let's do it. Why not? He doesn't. He doesn't. What do I say? He doesn't contemplate a lot and complain that he's not wishy-washy at all. He's black, white. That's it. And
I like that though.
Yeah, he's always like that. He's not somebody who goes and talks a lot like myself. He's more like, he's quiet, an introvert, and he does his thing. He's very fully introvert. I think he's very quiet. He does a lot of thinking and less talking.
It's not a bad thing.
I think that's something I appreciate actually.
Now, you and I have had 2 episodes, and this is the 3rd episode of the podcast that we filmed. First
it's
of all,
a bit different this time.
Very different, yeah. First one was kind of like formal. Second one was out in your car looking at the sites as well, wasn't it? You remember? We had a look around there, and then we caught up at the I was really impressed when I saw you at the, what's it called? What's the property exhibition called? What's that property? Cityscape. When I saw you and your dad both there on the stand, I was really impressed with that, to see that the people that own the business were sat there on the stand, interacting with clients and brokers and stuff. It was really cool.
I think it's such a great event. It happens every year, but
I just thought it, because I'd not seen that from developers. Sometimes they pop in the CEOs, but to see you there, and I was watching.
No, we're there every year.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah.
And on this episode, I really wanted to learn about you rather than you the businessman, like that you the guy. And so obviously Tizian, your PR guy, and I had a chat on the phone, and he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, let's think of ideas. Why don't we go sit with a sandwich on a park bench and get to know each other? And he said, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. And then he sends me a message a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, right, okay, Farhad wants to go skydiving.
He gave me the options. So I felt like I have to pick the most extreme. No, but I'm happy I did that.
Does that mean that we've got, and I hope not, but I hope so, is the 4th episode going to be more extreme?
He was proposing fishing. I think that's good too.
Deep sea fishing early in the morning, that's a nice thing to do. Yeah. Do you do fishing? You like fishing?
I haven't done much, but I could.
It's a nice thing to do early in the morning. And then I suggested doing the zip line.
That's a good idea as well.
Okay, do stuff like that. Because Dubai has so much to offer, doesn't it?
There's so much. And we as residents here, we sometimes take it for granted or don't think about it a lot. And then we hear it from tourists who have come here and they have done skydiving and zip lines and this and that. And it's not just Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi. It's a lot of the whole Emirates now has so much to offer.
Have you seen the zip line in Ras Al Khaimah?
No, I haven't.
You've never been out there?
No.
It's the longest zip line in the world and the fastest zip line in the world.
Okay. And guess where I was this weekend though? Not in Ras Al Khaimah, but in Abu Dhabi, in Saryas bin Island. Sarbanyas
Island. Yes. Yeah, that's where the animals are.
The animals. It's not like anywhere
Apparently it's
else
stunning,
like Emirates. It's like there's animals all over.
Halfway to Saudi.
Yeah, it's halfway to Saudi. But when it comes to the UAE and seeing how many activities are available, it's like being in Maldives and also on a safari in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like that. Totally.
And it's funny how we live in these places and we just don't get stuck in and we don't get involved. We get into...
It's 344 kilometers away.
But you can go by the seaplane.
No, I drove.
You drove?
But then when you reach Abu Dhabi, the highway is 160 kilometers per hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like it was the German Autobahn. Sort of. You drive, you get there very
quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look how much is available, and I'm glad we're meeting in a place like this. This is one of the really cool things that's happening in Dubai. There's a lot that people, living in Dubai, sometimes they just get so caught up with their work and they forget that how many activities are there for kids or grown-ups or for everybody else, sports-wise or cultural.
I think a lot of people come here on vacation and want to buy property. They want to buy like a pied-à-terre, or they want to buy somewhere, think about coming to live here and stuff. And I think that they've been seduced by Dubai in such a fabulous way by all the stuff that's out there on the media that they see that. I just think a lot of the time we just get back.
And that's because they see all this. We had people that were tourists. They fall in love with the city and then they book a home. They buy a home just as a home for visiting. It's because they think they will visit so often, so they buy an apartment instead or a property, furnish it, and then it's they would use it again. So they have it's usually their second or third visit, and they're so excited. They put down their credit card down payment. They look, book me a property.
Maybe with all the developments that you sell, when you sell them off plan, maybe you should throw in a free skydive.
Yeah.
I wonder how many takers you'd get on that.
It's a good idea.
You get the keys and you get a skydive. It's a great
Why
facility
not?
though, isn't it? I mean, looking around here, these guys that are packing up these parachutes over and over and like doing such a fantastic job, and it looks such a complicated thing to do as well, doesn't it? But
I bet
we've got to rely. We are relying completely on what.
I'm
these
hoping
guys do.
they would put us on one that's the best and the nicest and the biggest.
I hope they're all the best, but yeah, they have an incredibly good safety record here as well.
Yeah.
So
No, I know a lot of people have been skydiving in this facility, and
phenomenal.
The records are very good. But what's more interesting, and you can see it on the screen there, is the view of the palm. We have a project there, so I could see my project.
Mega, yeah.
Yeah.
See down on the palm like that. Yeah, I think that video is a bit old actually because a lot of the development's not done. Have you got a building on?
Yeah, we have two.
Two
Yeah, one is delivered. The other is being delivered in March.
on the Crescent.
On the Crescent, yes. On the Crescent, on the Anantara side, and the Waldorf Astoria. That between those two.
So is it apartments, hotel? What is it?
It's hotel apartments.
Hotel apartments.
So it's apartments though. You live like a normal resident, and you can have one. You can buy it. So it's not really a hotel where it's a hotel room. It's
People must have amazing views living there.
Yes, they have the beach access. They have the sea view, and they have the beach access and the beach view. So it's pretty cool.
Really cool.
And it's named after my daughter Mina.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, how lovely is that?
Yeah, that was my dad's idea.
That's really lovely.
Yeah.
Right, should we get this done?
I'm ready.
Right, we'll see you up there. Ah! It's really looking good.
Well, any special reason for jumping again?
I'm doing a podcast today and I've invited some guests with me to the podcast, and I said, what do you want to do for the podcast? They went, let's go for a skydive.
All right, man. Well, cool. Here we are. Do you want to say something for our friends and family before you go? Say something for our family, for our friends.
Well, I hope I get to see them again.
All right, let's have some fun up there.
Wow.
Did you have a good time?
The most amazing experience ever.
How was that? Amazing. Good time, yeah?
Come on. I can't even have a normal conversation with you now. You just jumped out of an aeroplane.
Oh, you did too as well.
How was that? Tell us
Amazing.
how does that feel? What's that experience? People haven't done this, and there's people that are terrified of this kind of stuff. Okay, it's your first time doing it. Tell me what it feels like. What was the sensation?
So as the plane started going up and up and up, right? I was hoping that it would be not so high, but the more we went, I was a bit nervous. I was anxious, and I was going first. And I was making sure that my instructor has hooked me up pretty well. He was very good, very professional. So I had those worries in the back of my head, but once the door was open, I think all that the worry and went away, and I was actually having a better comfort level when the door was open, and I knew that I'm going to do it anyways. And the first few seconds when you're free,
you felt okay.
yeah, I felt okay. I think it's that moment where you're getting ready. I noticed that I'm more freaking out.
Apprehension, yeah.
But when the door opened and I was going to do it anyways, then I was fine. I was totally comfortable, and when the jump happened, that the moment which is supposed to be the scariest, actually I was enjoying it more, the free fall. I love the whole
Yeah.
part of it, the whole part.
So you had a guy that spent a lot of time teaching you down on the ground.
Yeah, he was very good.
And then you got up there and yeah. So did he give you a chance to control the parachute?
Yes,
as well?
I did.
How did that feel? Did you have to steer it?
I liked it. We did a few small twists as well, and it was pretty good. But I did control it, and and we had something he was calling the zero gravity thing as well. So we did that a couple of times. That was pretty good. Where you felt like there was no gravity.
You,
yeah, you
and you literally stopped in the air.
Yes, you stopped in the air. That was pretty good. Where
yeah, it was good.
I had a look at the whole Dubai, see our projects there on the Palm.
Oh,
the MENA project. Yeah, I was like, that's our project there, and the Furjan was visible. The whole city pretty much very visible.
Oh, the view is amazing, isn't it?
The view is amazing.
Yeah, what you can see from up there on a clear day like we did.
The marina looks so amazing, so beautiful. It's a very there's so much. As I was coming down, I was noticing that so much has been built. So many of these beautiful towers. You look at the marina, you look at the Palm, and then you can see the Burj Khalifa. I was looking at the whole city. I mean, being in real estate, my eyes are very attached to buildings and properties in real estate. So I was looking at all that and thinking, wow, there's a lot of work that has happened in the city. An amazing view. I mean,
yeah, great from coming up there. Have you called your wife yet to tell her you've done it?
No. She just texted me. She said, "Where are you? Why aren't you checking your WhatsApp?" So I told her it's a long story. Let me come back and I'll tell you. I didn't tell her yet.
And so, as we had somebody else with us, Tizian, who works with you. Now, was it a punishment or was it a reward to come and do a skydive today?
I think it was a mix of both, but at the end I'm sure he's very happy with the experience. It was my first time, and I wanted somebody else to come on board. So I was open to having more of our colleagues come and join. But
imagine doing incentives like that at work, though, for people that do well at it and give them a chance.
but then the question is this a punishment or is this like it's when you do it, it's really amazing, it's really nice. But that time where the weeks or the days ahead you're thinking about it, it's a lot of worries, especially if it's your first time. I think for my next time I'll be fully only excited about it. But it's the worry of the unknown.
Will I die?
It's the unknown, it's the unknown. Will I die? What will happen? What if things go wrong? What if that? It's the what ifs.
And these guys are doing these jumps 8 or 9 times a day, and it's just like it's like walking into the office and
my instructor was like, "Welcome to my office." When we're in the air, he's like, "This is where and basically 10." He said, "I do 10 to 12 jumps a day."
Crazy.
Every day.
Every single day. That's your life. It's funny, isn't it? So, just before we finish, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to come and do this with you and share some time with you and get to know you better.
We did it.
Okay, so it's been good fun. Every time I meet you, I enjoy your company, so thank you for that. But also, when it comes to looking forward as we go through into 2020 and look what is going on with you and your planning for the rest of the year, do Azizi customers have good things to look forward to? Is there optimism in the air?
We are very optimistic. We are very, actually internally, we're very busy with delivering the projects that have been sold back in 2018 and 19 and 17. Those are now at completion stages. So 20 and 21, extremely busy with deliveries. Just last week we had one building delivered in Furjan. This month we have another. Every month of this year there is a delivery of 1 or 2 buildings. So that's how many buildings are being delivered.
Fantastic.
And those are properties that were sold at the back a couple of years back. Some 1, some 2 years. What's happening with new projects is we're more cautious as into launching projects where the demand is there for, and we avoid launching a lot of luxurious properties and all that. We're focusing more on the right location, does have the right returns, right sizes, areas that are more developed. So definitely focus on Maidan, focus on Al Furjan, healthcare city. Those 3 areas are our pretty big focus, and I think Expo 2020 is going to bring a lot of visitors here. Obviously 25 million visitors expected.
Excitement and enthusiasm,
a lot of
positivity.
I mean, we are very realistic. We know the dollar is strong, doesn't help. We know the whole, sometimes the oil price doesn't help. Some of the regional talks about those things don't really help. So like if you look at, and also the oversupply, there's a lot of talk about the oversupply, the sentiments, those things are really not helpful to the real estate market. But then we've been here for now it's been 22 years. We've always seen it's a very mature city. So it goes through, it's a very natural ups and downs, and I think by this summer when all those visitors and the expo is going to be very close by, I think it's going to be bouncing back. It's already been a good January for us and a good February so far. So we're pretty optimistic, we're pretty excited. I'm much more excited on the delivery parts. I love delivering homes.
Thank you so much for your time, I really appreciate it. There you go, we get a chance to see behind the scenes a little bit about people that run big businesses, and in particular Farhad here, running a huge organisation now. But he's just like you and me, isn't he? He's a guy, a bit of an adrenaline junkie, likes to have a bit of fun, family guy, does the same things a lot of us do. Do you know what? And when we got out of the air, landed on the ground and we got the chutes off, he said to me, why don't we do more of this? Why do we make more time for work and less time to be happy? And I think this gives us a great understanding that we're all the same, really. He's no different, and hopefully you've enjoyed what we've done today. Okay, got a bit of an idea, and if you're scared of skydiving, I urge you to try it. And if you want to get to know Farhad better, then I'm sure the door is open and you can do that very easily. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Okay. So I'm so lucky, aren't I? Look at my job. Okay, look what I get a chance to do. I get out, okay, do podcasts, and I do podcasts when I'm skydiving as well. This has really been something I'll cherish. And for all of you out there that want to come on my show, think about something cool to do, okay? We've done a skydive. I'll do anything dangerous, anything with adrenaline. Think of something cool to do and maybe we can have some fun. But getting a chance to learn about Farhad today was really important. Understand what he is really as a guy, you know, just like regular guy like you and me. And so that was really important too. And I really want you to think about what you've learned from this episode and think about the fact that sometimes we have an idea in our mind that people aren't approachable, or people that are in senior positions or do very well for themselves aren't necessarily people we can access. And they are, and you can. But if you enjoyed this episode, then click over here and you'll be able to see more episodes of the podcast. But if you want to subscribe, which I'd love you to do, click over there, subscribe to the podcast, press the bell button, and you'll see every episode coming through to you, more stuff like this. And considering this is the first time I've done a podcast skydiving, I promise you there'll be more.